LR Beast Gohan, Orange Piccolo. Very, very soon. We expect the banners to be out around the 28th. So I had some of you guys ask, who's going to be on the banner? And I decided we're going to go ahead and hop right into it. So I'm actually not alone today, if you can see by the title. I'm with none other than the Masked Ningen here.
Yo, how's it going, everybody? Yeah, we're here to talk about who we think is going to be on the banners. I'm definitely very excited. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so in my video, we're going to be covering the Goat Beast Gohan, and then in Ningen's video, part 2, we're going to be looking at Orange Piccolo. So, I think both banners are going to be very, very good, but let's just hop right into this. So, we're going to kind of be basing it off of the banners that we've seen previously. Gogeta and Broly were like the last new units that came out. On JP, it was exactly 4 years ago. Globally came out in what,
Um,
February, right?
I think so. I know it wasn't super long afterwards.
We can even just check here, right? Yeah, February 13th, right here.
Yeah,
And then, so it was a few months ago. Basically, 4 years since we've had. Well, I guess if you don't count the Gammas, I guess technically the Gammas are the actual
yeah,
new
true.
ones. But I mean, in terms of like Mega Hype Dual Dokkan Festival, these guys are also going to be at Lars. So they should have 10 featured units if they go by the same format. But we see there's two bounty units here, so it could be interesting if there's going to be bounty units. I guess obviously we know Beast Gohan, Orange Piccolo are going to be the main units. Speaking about the bounty units, I went into more detail in a separate video that was uploaded actually. By the time this video goes up, it'll be the day before yesterday. So feel free to check that out if you're interested in bounty units. But it could be like Pan, Android 18, even who knows, right? But let's assume there's like I guess one or two new bounty units per banner. I call it a day from there, right?
Yeah, I think it'll probably only be one, right? Because I know you've done your own video. I'm doing my own video about the side banner units. I don't think there'll be two, just because of the limited options. They probably could stretch it to two, but I feel like if there's going to be side banner units, it's only going to be one for each banner. So
That makes sense for sure, but yeah, I could see one. So let's go into the actual units I'll be returning. And first and foremost, I'm going to bring up this unit, the Year 7 God. So I think
mm,
that they're either them or even Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta will be on this banner. I know a lot of, I think Negan actually kind of disagrees with this, but and besides last year, the previous 2 years for the, I think, Pikkon Ninja Numba and then the Super
yep.
Saiyan 2s, they had the year 5s and year 4s on each of their banners respectively. So I'm thinking, even though last year didn't really have the actual year 7s on the banner, or the year 6s, my bad. I think the year 7s could return here. So it makes a lot of sense. JP, the last banner they actually were on, were the Tana banner all the way back. Like, if you take a look here, all the way back in what is this, July, right? Yeah, June. Yeah, wait, no, July. Never mind, my brain's messed up. But it's been a very long time since they've been on a banner, and that's not even an actual banner, at least in JP. Basically been the anniversary since they've been on an actual banner, I feel. But again, I know Ningen has his global perspective in here, which could be a little different. So what are you thinking? I think they have a good shot being on here.
Yeah, so after we discussed it, like I do definitely think there is the possibility that they could be on there. I think they do fit the banners, like in terms of the overall theme, right? Because usually we get Jewel Dokkan Fest returning, at the same time when there's another Jewel Dokkan Fest. And going by that previous trend, I would have more expected like the 6 year LRs to be on here, but not only would this obviously make the banners way more hype, but these units do kind of fit that theme a little bit more, especially the way we've decided to split them, right? With the gods being on Beast Gohan's banner for your video, and the Super Saiyan 4s obviously are going to be on my video for the Piccolo banner, because the gods have movie heroes as one of their leader skills, which obviously Beast Gohan will be on. But the Super Saiyan 4s have fused fighters, which most of like the later Piccolos should all be on. So they do kind of fit that theme of being on their banners. Now, the only thing, like you said, with the global perspective is obviously these banners are coming out on both versions at the same time. And global has literally just had these units come back for the first time on our version of the Tanabata banner, like the Christmas banner. So they have just been on a banner that has just left. But obviously, when these banners are on both versions at the same time, sometimes they are slightly different. That's the only thing I'm a little bit worried about that we didn't actually talk about, which would kind of be a global L if these guys were on the JP banner, but then global got like the 6 years because they've only just been back. That would suck.
That'd be funny to me. I'm sorry, global players, but it would be upsetting, but also kind of funny. But still, I think they have a good shot. Worst case scenario, 6 years, or even like if Goku and Frieza, maybe, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. This is the first time New Year's has been LRs, so we can't really
I
tell.
think one thing as well, like I guess in a way, like the banner is objectively better if the 7 years are on it. But imagine, like, I'm sure there probably are some global players who are in a position where they summoned on that banner that we've just had specifically to get like the 7 year LRs. So if then they ended up being on this banner, which is going to have potentially like the 2 new best units in the game on it, that would be a bit of a rip for all of those stones that they just spent.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess one last thing I would want to bring up: some people think that these two will return. I don't think
Man,
so. I think they're gonna be an anniversary.
yeah.
Unfortunately for global, if they return now, that would be a global W. But
Mm.
because in global they're gonna return like in what
July,
July.
yep.
So I don't
Yeah, that's the thing,
I don't
because
expect them to
because
come back.
JP's
Right?
anniversary is so close, then I think they
Yep.
probably will still stick with that. That would
Literally right
actually
here.
be a huge like global W, because obviously we know they've been doing a lot more celebrations at the same time now. So for them to bring those units back for the first time, it would be what, 4 or 5 months, something like that, for both versions for them to both come back. So that would be insane, but I don't expect it.
For sure. But yeah, I think we talked enough about, the LR gods, stuff like that. Let's move on to another unit here. So this is LR Gohan. I mean, come on, this one's obvious. We don't have to spend too much time on this. Gohan, hello. Beast Gohan and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, they're very similar. And
Yep.
there's the potential chance this guy could easy as well, right?
Hmm.
So, AJL Oracle, I feel like he's just a shoe-in for the banner. If he's not on the banner, that just feels weird, right?
Yeah, I mean, the
Um,
New Year's banners have had a trend of having the older worldwide celebration units on them as well. So I definitely could see, because obviously they very much fit the theme, right, of the whole Gohan versus Cell finale. So I could definitely see that, even if they're not getting an easy A, which obviously would make it a little bit less hype for them to be on the banner. But yeah, I could definitely see these guys being on there, because that's the other thing that we didn't mention that you have to bear in mind. These LR banners that we get nowadays, where we get these 10 featured units, we usually do have like 3 or 4 LRs. So they're going to have to fill some of those slots, unfortunately, with some of the older ones. So I can definitely see these guys fitting that theme for these banners.
yeah, maybe even like Gohan and Goten could be potential, but like, it's Gohan. So that's that. Let's move on next to these guys. These guys, I think that they have a good shot being on the banner. I can't remember the last time. Yeah, they're featured on the Tanabata banner before the New Year's last year. So I mean, these guys, Gohan and Goten, just another LR to throw on. They usually have like Ningen said, 3 or 4 LRs. Not really like a like matching kind of with the theme, superhero or like hybrids or something like that. Just a unit that hasn't been featured in like a year. So it's like, hey, maybe they could throw them on here. Um, we'll have to see, right? It depends on how they go with that. But yeah, I think we'll just move on from it, right? You have nothing to say about these guys, or
Not really. I think I could see them being on there because, again, like going by those previous New Year banners, we have had returns of like the old Tanabata LRs. So I could definitely see them being on there to fill another slot. I think it makes sense if they are going to return them. Obviously, you guys will see in my video when we go over the Piccolo ones. But I think these guys, whilst they don't necessarily super fit the theme for Gohan's banner, the unit that we're going to talk about that will be their counterpart kind of fits with the theme of Piccolo's one. So I could see them them being on Beast Gohan's banner for sure. It would be awesome. I think this unit, I think they got underrated too early. Obviously, they have aged out now, but I thought this unit was quite good for longer than I feel like a lot of people did. So I'm definitely going to be excited for their EZA, but I don't see that anytime soon. But I can see them
Yeah.
being on the banner for sure.
Eventually, 2020. Cooler is not even a year like younger than them, so right.
Mm,
SR Cooler, I think he's 2019, isn't he? So,
I think so, yeah.
yep. Okay, next we have this guy. So, this guy,
Yes.
I'm gonna do a separate video on him and then Gamma too, obviously, but I think they have a really good shot at returning. Superhero, in the past they returned like these like new units, new from the anime or movies or whatever, very, very quickly. So I mean, he fought Gohan. I mean, I think it would be a great opportunity to bring these guys back, especially since they were a global release as well. Bringing them back at the same time would be really cool.
Hmm. Yeah, because they came out at the same time, so them coming, well, sort of. We had to wait a week, but it was basically the same time.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a
and
pretty
then
good week for me.
yeah, I was gonna say it's a kind of a double-edged sword because for content creation, it was kind of annoying to be a week behind, but for the actual global player base, it's kind of a best case scenario, right? Because you got a week to see how good the units were before you decided to summon, and then you didn't have to wait like 3 months for them to come out. So that's pretty cool. So because they came out roughly the same time, it would be cool for them to come back for the first time at the same time as well. And like you said, it makes sense. Like Gohan fights Gamma 1, Piccolo fights Gamma 2, so it makes sense for the units to be split the way we have them. The one thing I did want to get a quick thought on, I mean, this could be a whole nother discussion in and of itself, but one thing I did think about was obviously the Gammas when they came out, they were like up there as top TURs in the game. It almost feels like it makes it kind of a waste to have summoned for them if they come back on this banner, which is obviously like this is the banner that everybody really wants to summon on because this has the big boys on it. And apart from, I guess, if you struggled against Cell Max, it's not like you really needed the Gammas when they first came out. So I feel like anyone who went crazy deep for them when they released, if they're coming back already, I feel like those people might feel a little bit of regret. But I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, a little. If you look at their banner, it wasn't bad at all. Like these four are still really good. This guy in particular, he was really good. I
Yeah.
mean, but these three kind of mad. Maybe I mean, dude, like all these units could be returning.
Yeah.
But that's really funny. Just again, like what if they just copy and paste this, man? That'd be crazy. But I still think it was worth summoning for them, just because there's if you especially really like the gammas, it's a chance to get both of them together on one banner, and then you don't have to
True.
summon on both dual Dokkan Fest. There's less featured units, so it's gonna be way easier to get them on this banner than it was here. So while it may feel a little bit like, oh, I could have just waited to summon on the better banner, if you're a big fan of the Gammas, like I'm a big fan of them, they're really good and just like character, it was kind of worth still summoning. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't like feel sad about it if they returned. I do think they're coming back though for sure.
Yeah, plus to be fair, unless you went all in and rainbowed them on the first banner, the chances are you're now just going to get to pick up a couple of dupes. So it's still going to work out pretty well for most people, I guess.
Yeah, if like yours are free dupe, and then you can get like multiple dupes on these banners if you just go really hard, it could be good for you. But yeah, we'll move on next. Right here we have Goku Gohan. I mean, they usually return Golden Week units on these New Year's banners, if I'm not mistaken. And
I think so, yeah.
again, Gohan, Goku, right? Duh. I feel like it's a really good pick for this banner.
Yep, because it fits like the theme, obviously, again, having not just the fact that it's Gohan related, but obviously because they're a Goku family leader, like they're obviously going to share some links, some teams. So yeah, I feel like it makes sense for them to be split that way. And this unit is still like, I feel like this unit gets a lot of unnecessary hate. Like this unit is still pretty good. So
So
them
good,
coming
right?
back. Plus, they haven't returned a ton of times, right? So unless you are like a massive whale, people probably still need extra copies, even if you have already pulled them. So
Yeah, I mean, they're on just these two banners. Their initial banner, then Cooler. So, I mean, them being featured again wouldn't be the worst thing. I'm sure many people maybe not even have this unit, right?
yep.
So, it depends, but I think it's a good choice. Next, we'll move on right here to Super Saiyan 2 Goku again. Just New Year's unit. He's been just featured on these dual Dokkan Fest again. Very likely that he's featured again. I wouldn't say he's anything crazy anymore, but he's still pretty good. Especially if you get Super Saiyan 3, he can put up a lot of damage, I feel still. And his defense could be definitely at least enough to tank normal than a lot of these high end difficult bosses.
Yeah, I think he still works quite well as a floater on most of his teams because obviously, he's not a slot one unit, but he works pretty well. The only downside, of course, is just that he is one of those like full on RNG reliant units. Because if you take him into one of the difficult red zone bosses and then you get that turn where he just does a super attack and then a bunch of additional normal attacks, then it's potentially not going to go well for you. But on the turns where he does actually throw out those like 3 or even 4 super attacks as a Super Saiyan 3, then he is still looking pretty good on those teams. So
Yeah, I definitely agree there, right? And I would say this unit also gets a little bit more flack than they probably should. But,
mhm.
I also see this unit overrated. So that's a whole other topic, Dokkan on Twitter. Let's just move on to the last two. I mean, come on, this guy was on the Gamma's banner, right? But it's like Ultimate Gohan. This guy is going to be like one of his best friends, probably. I
Yep.
just think it honestly is a really good idea to put him on this banner, especially for newer players. Now, older players probably will obviously won't really find use for this guy, but in terms of dupes, but this guy is still incredible. He's still really good, so it'd still be a win. I feel right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like he's going to be a unit that is. I mean, people still use him now, right? And people still, especially if you go on
Me,
Twitter, like people still talk about this unit
me.
constantly. So, I mean, yeah, I was going to say at the beginning, that's why I had to let you take the Gohan banner for this video because I can't deprive the number one Gohan fan. So, but yeah, people still talk about this unit for a reason. Like, even if you're kind of sick and tired of seeing people talking about him, it's because he has just stood the test of time, right? And if Beast Gohan, well, I guess obviously he starts off as potential Unleashed or Ultimate Gohan, but if Beast Gohan drops and he has these links like All in the Family, especially Cold Judgment, if they have both of those links, like the two of them together are just going to be a ridiculous rotation. And obviously,
And
we still
then
don't know at this point anything about what the new Gohan's going to do, but if he transforms into Beast and is like a ridiculous offensive unit, which is what I'm assuming, then you have this guy that can sit in slot one. By the time you've transformed into Beast Gohan, this guy's literally just tanking everything in slot one. And then yeah, Beast just goes off in slot two. So I think him being on the banner would be perfect, like for that setup. So
what if like Ultimate Gohan, right? He supports 3 key 58% defense, then shares on the family cold judgment with him. Things
I
can
mean,
get
insane.
crazy very easily, very very easily. So gotta keep
Yep.
your eye out for this guy. He could also likely be under his 200%, right? But
hmm
yeah, I mean, what if he easy ace? I don't think that's
Yeah,
impossible.
I was gonna say, I was gonna bring that up. Like, what do you think? Like, I feel like it is too early, but that would be like if we imagine the hype, right? If people woke up to like the celebration news for when the banner and everything's coming out, and this guy's Easy A was announced, like people would go insane. Like he doesn't even really need it, but like, yeah, that rotation then of him and the new Gohan just becomes even more ridiculous. So
I just wouldn't say it's not impossible. I wouldn't
it's
say it's
definitely not
like
impossible.
it's like, oh, he's going to easy. He has to, right? But I could definitely see it happening. But I think a more likely easy option is this guy, which is the last unit we picked kind of to be on the banner.
Uh-huh.
It would make a lot of sense if he easy A's. He again also has like cold judgment on the family. It just sucks because when he transforms, he actually loses Saiyan lineage, right? But that sucks. But he still has some of these good links, and I think again he hasn't. I don't remember the last time he's been featured. Yeah, on this banner right here, and then this, yeah, he's been on some recent banners ish, right? But if he easy
Yep.
A's, he's Gohan. I think it can make a lot of sense, and he could be. He's not even. I took him against Cell Max, and he's okay, right? So
Mhm.
if he does easy, he could be actually quite good because he's a damage reduction unit, right? These units tend to age really well.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, you think about like when he easy A's, obviously he's going to get the full 170 across the board leader skill. And that leader skill is going to cover both the new Gohan and Piccolo, because obviously Piccolo's going to be on Bond of Master and Student, right? So he's going to be able to lead both the new units if you happen to not pull like one of them or whatever. So him getting an easy A and then potentially being on the banner is going to be pretty good for running some of these new units as well. So I definitely think he is a solid option for the EZA if they're not going to pull the trigger on Tech Gohan. Because, like I say, as crazy as that would be, I feel like maybe it's a little bit too early. So I think this guy would be the perfect runner-up instead. So
I definitely agree, but again, that's our guesses of the matter. Let me know what you guys think. If maybe there's a unit you think, oh, this unit has to be featured that we forgot or something. I would love to hear your guys' ideas in the comments below. Again, we're gonna have part 2 here with Orange Piccolo on Ningen's channel. That video will obviously be up the same time this video goes up, so feel free to check it out. It should be live already. And that's basically it for me. Any last words, Lincoln?
yeah, just thanks for having me on. Obviously, like we said, if you think you have any other ideas of units that you think could be on here or would fit the theme, obviously do let us know in the comment section. But make sure you do go and check out part 2 because obviously, potentially, some of those units get mentioned over there. So this was obviously for Beast Gohan's banner, and part 2 will be for Orange Piccolo's banner. So yeah, very much looking forward to these dropping, and hopefully they are going to be this good.
For sure. Again, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.